hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild with me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan? Brave the Wild is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and of course also on the Hockey Podcast Network. I thank Dylan and Kyle for having me on board that incredible network, so thank you again, always there. Sponsored by DraftKings, of course. Well, thank you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back aboard with you once again today. The Minnesota Wild played 3 games this past week, and, well, all losses. Yeah, well, that's all you need to know. They lost. They lost, and that's it. So, game over. Oh, well, basically, that's basically what it felt like, though. Getting swept by the Winnipeg Jets, the injuries piling up like, gosh, worse than the Vikings. Gosh, I mean, I don't even want to think about it. Maybe I shouldn't compare the two, but, well, this week felt like a Minnesota Vikings week out there. Like the way this Minnesota Vikings team has played, like, say, against the Packers on New Year's Eve. That was depressing. Choking their butts off against the Detroit Lions the week before, fumbling against Denver. Check out the Purple Mafia show, or podcast, whatever, whenever you'd like to check that out if you could. But sorry for the free plug. I know. It's probably nothing you want to hear at this point, right? Just a bunch more frustration, guys being hurt, being limited, and oftentimes choking opportunities away as well. And just players being out there that probably don't deserve to be out there. The John Merrills, the Goligoskis, the Nick Mullenses, the Josh Dobbses, and others out there for the Vikings. Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. And, of course, Jaron Hall, who was in way over his head, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. This was a lousy week. Absolutely lousy. Getting swept by Winnipeg, it's like, I was like, oh, let's go for the sweep. And then my brother's father-in-law, David Kostick, on Minnesota Wild Global said, let's at least go for this, or yeah, let's talk about a split for now. Let's get one win for now, and then we end up getting swept. So yeah, terrific. Kirill Kaprizov injured in the game. This was on the 30th, of course. It was a back-to-back in Winnipeg and then at St. Paul. Also, speaking of St. Paul, the city of St. Paul and Minneapolis have been awarded the World Junior Classics for 2026. Well, that's the good news. So 3M Classic, that's where the Gophers, or 3M at Mariucci sounds a little better. 3M at Mariucci, 3M Classic, that sounds like an event. At Mariucci, that's the Minneapolis side. St. Paul, of course, would be the Xcel Energy Center. At least I would hope so, right? No, it is. So World Junior Classics 2026, that might be it for the good news, other than like Faber and Rossi continue to play well. The Wild lose Philip Gustafsson and Kirill Kaprizov against the Winnipeg Jets in the 4-2 loss. A game that started ugly early, and, well, the Wild kind of got back into it and then just simply did not win. That's just all there is to say about that. They just simply didn't win. Made it 3-2, and then Axel Johnson, yeah, AJF, let's just call him that, got his second goal of the season. I thought it was Dominic Tornado. No, I'm just kidding. Toninato and Morgan Barron. There we go. Morgan Barron. At least I can pronounce that. Yeah. Kirill Kaprizov would get his 21st assist on Boldy's 11th goal. 20 seconds into the third period, and I think, here we go. We got a shot at this. After Nino Niederreiter had scored twice against the Minnesota Wild, Kaprizov not long after that would be cross-checked twice by Mr. Dillon of the Winnipeg Jets. First one, he got up, everything's okay, it probably hurt, but, he's going to continue playing. The second one, it's like, oh, hey, whoa, hold on there a little bit. That was a little harsh, and I just don't understand, like, what's the point? Do you have to do that garbage? So, of course you do. That would be Brendan Dillon, big goon of the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg Jets make you want to hate them. They remind me so much of the Vancouver Canucks about 20 years ago, where they were kind of dirty, they were rough, they were, just an annoying team to play against. You hated them with a passion, that kind of thing. Like, they're basically what the Vancouver Canucks were. It's like the same kind of vibe, and it's probably going to stay that way for a very long time because they're close. Their fans are close and everything. Like Winnipeg didn't exist at the time. They had relocated to the original Winnipeg Jets had relocated to Phoenix, Arizona to become the Coyotes way back in '97 after not moving to Minneapolis. They were going to be the Minneapolis Jets in Target Center possibly. Maybe there'd be a name change, who knows. I still remember that quite well in the mid-'90s, and then it just didn't happen. The Whalers didn't move to Minneapolis, of course, or anything like that, which, you know, I would have been sad to take the Whalers, even though I love the Whalers. At least we would have them. But, you know, still, it'd be interesting if we kept the name. There's a lot of whales here in Minnesota. There's a lot, you know, I mean, no, there's none. So, yeah, that was back in the day. That kind of triggered a memory there. Apologize. But obviously triggering memories of Donald Brashear and such. Yeah. Let's not think about Marty McSorley. Let's think about what a kind of a goon Donald Brashear truly was at the end of the day. Now that we can get off that part of history, the Marty McSorley side, and think about what Brashear was a goon. There's no doubt about that. Todd Bertuzzi was a goon, but a very talented one before he, you know, I don't know, started getting hurt a lot and also, again, was suspended for a calendar year. That certainly didn't help his hockey skills and such. He kind of lost it after that. He wasn't too good anymore, but a hell of a player when he was good. Nino Niederreiter scoring twice. That was really frustrating. Was it the second goal? Which, yeah, I believe it was Nino Niederreiter's second goal. John Merrill looked like, I don't know, he looked like my mom trying to help push a trailer when we were pushing the lawnmower trailer to put it away for the winter. Just kind of going like with her arms, but not really even touching it hardly. Well, okay, John Merrill was touching Nino Niederreiter, but wasn't doing a heck of a lot else. It was really weird. So, yeah, John Merrill, again, looking like a stud defenseman in Pee-wee hockey, maybe. I don't know. Not too good. Not too good at all. And obviously the complaints continue about those two guys. You know who they are. If you've been watching the Wild the last couple of years, I'd be Goligoski and Merrill. Well, yeah, luckily they haven't been paired together anymore because that's pretty much like, you know, Olay. Pretty much. I think you get the point there. Yeah, but Kaprizov, my personal diagnosis would be bruised ribs, because they talked about week to week, maybe like 2 weeks or something like that, approximately. See, like, it could be broken, but I think it's bruised, and bruised ribs are insanely painful. It happened to me before. It is, and it takes time. It takes about a month to heal. So when they're saying like 2 weeks, yeah, that's definitely not a broken rib. But yeah, bruised ribs take about as long to heal as a broken bone because it's, you know, especially if it's real bad. So yeah, let's just say I landed on concrete, slipping on ice, and like the concrete was raised, the part that hit the ribs. It's a miracle something didn't break somewhere. But yeah, stuff like that. It hurts forever. It's hard to sleep even. It's brutal, and there's probably a lot of you out there that have had something similar in the past. So that's my personal diagnosis. Obviously, they're not going to say anything because that's just how they are. And then Gustafsson, lower body injury, and then, you know, week to week as well. So it's like that would be guys like I don't know. Is it? Are we going to see? Are we going to see the backup goalie at Iowa? Are we going to see whoever? So that's the insanely scary part when it comes to the Minnesota Wild and the goaltending position, because Marc-Andre Fleury is not necessarily somebody you want to count on a nightly basis anymore. We're kind of past that, unfortunately. That would be McIntyre. He is up with Minnesota at the moment, and the talk is, like, why would you bring up Wallsteed, or Jesper Wallstedt, or Jesper Wallsteed is what I've been heard from Michael Russo, of all people, on one of his shows, that, yeah, it's hard to say. It's like, you know, like, would you really want to bring him up? And he'd been injured for a short time as well. You know, they got to see Hunter Jones in net once, at least so far. I guess he's still with Iowa now due to, you know, injuries and such. It's the domino effect of this guy's hurt, so now we get people moving all over, you know, and such. It's a domino effect of the goalie position. This guy moves up, and now this team's shorthanded, and this guy moves up, and this team's shorthanded. And this guy's hurt, and this team is short. That's where it started from. But Hunter Jones gave up 6 goals for Iowa. We'll talk about Iowa in the second segment, as per usual. But it's kind of more assessing injuries more than anything else here on this episode, if you want to get topical, other than the fact that the Wild lost all 3 games in disappointing fashion. The team just didn't look good. Boldy, I mean, yeah, he needs to step up. Yeah, he did score in the third period to make it 3-2, but pretty much after that, Boldy pretty much, I don't know, hasn't been all so great. Vinny Lettieri's out. Jared Spurgeon's going to be in the next, by the Calgary game, excuse me. And yeah, well, I'll have something to say about him very shortly. It was nice to have him back for 3 games, and he wasn't that good. That's the whole thing. It's like he wasn't kind of back in the swing of things or anything like that. And I don't know. I don't think Spurgeon's been really good all season. I don't know. I don't think he was all that great last year either. But he's the captain. He's the captain, and he's Mr. Everything. Is he, though? Is he the best penalty killer on the team? Should he be on the number 1 power play, on a regular basis? No and no, in my opinion. If it's up to me, it should be a certain other guy. You can probably guess who. The guy who was on it when Spurgeon was out. And, of course, Brogene's been out as well, obviously with the broken bone in his hand or wrist, and that sucks. So, yeah, that means more and more Goligoski and Merrill. It's freaking awesome. I mean, aren't you excited? You get to see Goligoski, Merrill. Even if they are split up, but still having them in the lineup sucks. Yeah, it's back to Middleton favor. There's no doubt about that. Goligoski with Bogosian, Mermis, and Merrill. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. There's one guy for sure that I'm a fan of. The rest of them, I don't know. Bogosian's adequate, but he's limited. Goligoski, okay, do I need to say anything? Merrill, do I need to say anything? Mermis, it's okay, but, he is what he is. And Middleton, obviously, decent, pretty good, above average most of the time, but I thought he had I might as well just say it. I thought he had a shitty week. I thought he had a terrible week, Middleton. One of the goals given up was at the second game. He was getting kind of pushed backwards, and the puck went off his skate. It was kind of like a backwards kick into the net. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, you look at the lineup, Nick Baton, nice to see him getting opportunities. And on the second line, interesting with Hartman and Rossi. Eck is centering the top line with Johansson, Boldy. Goudreau with Luchini and Maroon, because even Lettieri's out. And Connor Dewar, Brandon DeHeyman, Sammy Walker, kind of like, sounds like a really glorified Iowa line, but then again, they're good, though. They were all in Iowa at some point, an extended period for some of those guys, and yeah, I mean, this would have been an elite line in Iowa when you consider those 3 guys, but Sammy Walker deserves an opportunity. He definitely has been playing so much better in Iowa. It'd be nice to see Sammy break through. It really would, and become an NHL player. Vinny pretty much was an NHL player this year for the most part, and was pretty good. That'd be Vinny Lettieri. Yeah, I'll get off the cousin thing. But anyhow, the Wild lose to Winnipeg in this one. Kaprizov injured with what I believe are bruised ribs. And Gustafsson, I have no freaking idea, an ankle or a knee. I'm just guessing, literally guessing on that one. But it's probably what it is, something like that, ankle or knee situation. Something you wouldn't want to, like a sprain of some sort where it takes time to heal. It's just my personal guess when it comes to Gustafsson, but Kaprizov, you saw where. So, like kind of upper body or like lower upper body. Might be abdomen, actually, but it's like the rear. So, yeah, that's like ribs back there and such. So it's definitely like a bruise, and if it's like maybe a slight crack, I don't know. But cracks take longer to heal than generally. Like bruises are you kind of play through it. You kind of play through the pain thing eventually after it subsides a little bit, maybe a week or two. So we'll move on from that. The next game, yeah, I don't even want to get into it. It's so depressing and frustrating. The Wild actually led in this game 1-0. But after that, Winnipeg would tie it up and take the lead. The Wild did have a goal disallowed for offsides. Sounds familiar around these parts. Sounds way too familiar. Adam Lowry would score. I believe that was the one. Yes, that was the one where the puck went off of Mr. Middleton's skate. Freddie Goudreau, only his 3rd goal of the season. But that was a good one, generally speaking. Nick Baton would get his first assist in the NHL this season. Nice. Those guys have been playing together, Johansson, Baton, and Goudreau, at least in that situation, before more players get hurt. Jeez, not a single Winnipeg player had the 10th goal of the season in this one, and obviously neither Wild player. Foligno getting his 6th, Goudreau getting his 3rd. I don't know, it's just... Marc-Andre Fleury was adequate in net, but the play in front of him wasn't so great. Brossoit was decent, obviously only giving up 2 goals. The Wild couldn't muster a point, couldn't get it to OT or any type of shootout or anything crazy like that. Goudreau did wind up with 2 points, so credit to him there. But, yeah, and Spurgeon also, kind of chipping in assists slowly but surely. But overall, again, he's definitely been inferior to what he'd been previously. Him being Jared Spurgeon, only 5 assists on the season and no goals, of course, in only 16 games. That is 20 games missed already. Yep, 36 games is the maximum for the guys like Faber and Johansson. Let's knock on wood just saying that number and those names, especially a certain one, a certain outstanding rookie. Yes. Gosh, Jake Middleton has 13 points. So, yeah, he had been having a good season. It's just he had a terrible week. Just bottom line, he had a terrible week. He did. Like, easily his worst week of the season so far, to say the least. Generally speaking. Winnable game for the most part, but again, no Kaprizov, no Gustafsson, and of course Gustafsson, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. Like, it might be McIntyre in that at some point. Maybe Wallstead, but we'll see what happens with that. But, oof. This was depressing to say the least. Just another, just chalk it up again. I mean, Joel Eriksson Ek, unfortunately, hasn't been mustering points. Generally speaking, we could use a little help from him, I suppose. He's been quiet a little bit in the points department, but he's been good in most everything else. Sorry, this is dragging longer than I thought. But, of course, a lot of topics to get to with the injuries and such. Generally speaking, again, they're becoming unbearable. These losses definitely can't fall on Hines. So now as we head to the Calgary game, Jared Spurgeon would wind up not playing after a while. He'd be out there. He'd get hurt during the game, so on and so forth. Why is this in the wrong place? Yeah, but yeah, we turn the calendar now to 2024. Happy New Year. Yeah, I know it's really happy. It's what's happy and what's new about it. That's what I'd like to know. I've wondered that pretty much most of my life. But I'll get off of that rant, that miniature rant anyway. I don't know, this game again. Just, felt like, I don't know, what did it feel like? It just felt like a game that wasn't going well pretty much early and often. The Wild were slow, kind of looked like the same old thing. Yep, the Wild were slow, generally speaking, off to a slow start and all that. The Baton and Maroon goal was pretty, luckily. But then again, kind of a bounce as well. But Rossi would also get the second assist, so happy to get Rossi as a factor in that case. Maroon, again, he's been consistent, been solid most of the year. Obviously not as much of an offensive guy as he was at the beginning. Happens a lot that the big guys score a lot of points early in the season. Like Ryan Reeves led the years ago. What was it, their third year in the league? The Vegas Golden Knights. They were offensively off to an insanely slow start, and Ryan Reeves led them in scoring like 3 weeks into the season. It was really weird and funny. Ryan Reeves, are you kidding? So it's kind of like that fast start with Pat Maroon, but obviously overall a pretty good year for Minnesota. Pat Maroon, Nick Baton and Maroon also, again, really nice passing skills back and forth. Wound up with a goal for Maroon as Baton's shot kind of deflected off the goaltender, but set up Maroon for a gimme. So that was the only positive thing in this game, other than, again, Marc-Andre Fleury played outstanding. He was outstanding in that. The third goal was, again, a 3-1 loss. The third goal was a empty netter down the stretch. Jacob Markstrom was fantastic. So I don't know if Markstrom's Hall of Fame category someday in his career, many years later from now, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But two goalies, it was like a pitcher's duel for the most part. The Wild did pepper Markstrom as the game wore on, but it felt like Calgary pretty much had the upper hand at the beginning, and that ended up being enough at the end of the day. Almost everybody was a minus in this game. Freddie Gaudreau was a plus. He's had a pretty good week, I thought. Freddie Gaudreau. You don't really think of Gaudreau in positive lights all too much this season. But Nick Baton has been pretty good so far. Again, and some people thinking he should be a guy that should have a shot to stick around in the NHL when Vinny Lettieri comes back, possibly. Baton's been pretty damn good in Iowa the last 2 years, honestly. Lucchini, I'm not sure a whole lot. I'm not sure what he offers for the most part. I think he's more of the quad A category. He's a nice hockey player, generally speaking, but is he NHL material? I don't know. I think Walker is. At least he should be. Beckman, I don't know. I don't know. Eventually, it's like bleep or get off the pot, that type of thing with Beckman. It's like, come on, man, let's go. At the end of the day, come on. Come on, Adam. Let's go. Let's see what you can do. That type of thing. That's a Jack Morris line years ago, talking about a certain Twins pitcher, closer at the time. But Ryan Hartman also, again, fined a little under $5,000 for getting Cole Perfetti in the face of the stick. Sorry for being late on that one. And basically was mic'd up and said, "Sorry, that's for Kirill. Sorry about that type of thing." So that's kind of funny how that wound up. And then, so it's a little bit of that retaliation type of thing. Some people think that shouldn't be in hockey. Some people think it should. Do I have really much of an opinion on it? I don't know. I wish people would stop going after star players on both sides of the equation. Generally speaking, I guess that's my overall opinion. Just play the game. Stop injuring people, damn it. So I just think it's dumb and bush league at the end of the day. So luckily for Winnipeg, their player's going to keep playing. Ours, we don't know. We don't know when he's going to come back. So we don't know. It's a pain tolerance type of thing, in my humble opinion. I don't think it's a break, but I guess what do I know? Just from my opinion, it didn't look like that would break bones, but maybe. Definitely bruised, yes. And bruises suck, and they take a long time to heal, so especially on the bone. Let me tell you about bone bruises. So that's all you. So there's that. But no, Spurgeon hurt in this game and going back to IR. Are you kidding me? Are you bleeping kidding me?
Are you fucking kidding me?
All right, here are my thoughts. Jared Spurgeon, should he still be the captain of this team? I mean, is it okay to question that? I think it is at this point. And it was brought up on last week's episode in the fan interaction segment. It was brought up, and I thought it was a good question. I thought it was legit. And I don't know. I really don't. I think there should be conversation that the Wild look in a different direction for the captain. Yes, I'm already saying it, but what did you expect? What is he, 34 already? And he's hurt all the bleeping time. It's all the time. He was hurt all the time last year. He was hurt all the time the year before. There's always something. And I know it's hockey. It's a brittle sport, and guys get hurt, and there's freak injuries. But, like a puck could hit you in the face. Maybe you get a broken jaw suddenly, and you're out forever. That type of thing. Crazy things happen. Broken fingers. You're out for like a month plus. That type of thing happens. But at the same time, the guy's always hurt. It's constant. It's always something with Jared Spurgeon. And first of all, if you're not there, I don't know. And obviously, again, he's becoming limited. He's becoming limited to a point where I don't think he's as good as he used to be. Okay, he's 33. My apologies, but he looks like he's 38, frankly. He looked like he's 38 this year most of the time. Physically, he doesn't physically look like it, like his face. He looks much younger, but his style of, he's definitely slowed down, and I don't know, something's missing from Jared Spurgeon. I think at very least he should be I don't know, that's the thing, like who should be the captain. I think in the future it's Faber, almost certainly. I can even rattle off possible possibilities as captains in the future, like say the whole group, the whole trio. Like say, okay, fine, we keep Kaprizov as an alternate, but then the captain becomes either Eriksson Ek or Brock Faber. One of them becomes the alternate, the other's the main captain. And right now, I think if you were going to completely change and move the C to somebody else at some point this year or next, probably not this year, but next year or something. I mean, just because, it'd be weird to change it during the middle of the season, but I don't know. Maybe they should, because the guy never plays. Eriksson Ek, right now, Eriksson Ek, I think, because Faber, he's a rookie. That's kind of tough, but I suppose it does happen once in a blue moon where a rookie could become a captain real early, but that's insanely rare. But I think right now, that's what I'd be leaning towards. I still remember being happy seeing that A on Spurgeon's chest in the past. When, oh, cool, that's a good idea. Yeah, like when people like Dumba or whoever, like a Dumba, Brodin, or even Koivu would get hurt, there has to be a new alternate, at least during the time the guy's out. And then, Brodin was never alternate, just as replacement. But, guys getting hurt, like a Parisi Studer or Koivu. Oh, God, those names. Great history at times, but extreme frustrations as well. But yeah, you'd see Spurgeon with the alternate, and then you'd feel good about it. There you go. That's a good idea, especially as we go forward. He should be one of the captains someday. And then they end up giving him the flat-out C, and it's are you sure? I don't want to give the captain to Foligno. I think he's too out of control, especially for somebody who's over 30, and he's still out of control like that. He still flies off the handle and such. I don't think that's a captain. I don't know. And most people would be like, really? Are you sure? Well, there's nothing wrong with him still being an alternate. So for me, it would probably be like if you want to look towards the future, like a younger guy who's experienced and established himself with his team, and he represents the Wild in a lot of ways. Joel Eriksson Ek. That's who I would probably lean towards if it was me. If, like, say, gun to my head, who would I pick today? And not picking Marcus Foligno, it would be Joel Eriksson Ek. Long term, it's probably Faber, and I could imagine Marco Rossi with an A. So those are the three guys I'm looking towards if the Minnesota Wild completely started over with three different captains. Like, imagine you could just completely reset, and I think one day it's going to end up that way where it's those three, where it's three guys of Faber's the captain, Ek and Rossi will wear the alternates. Ek and Rossi will wear the alternates, and maybe a possible Boldy at some point, especially if somebody gets hurt, but Boldy possibly might be one of the alternates, but Ek has to be one of the two. I think, like Rossi, we'll see. But I can imagine him getting it because in a lot of ways, I think he sets for somebody at his young age of 21, he sets a pretty good example out there for to play like a two-way game. And he does have 23 points on the year. That's good. He's productive as well. So it's not all about stats and all that and being like the best player on the team, but to also still to contribute, though, to not be a guy who's kind of way at the bottom. Not sure they should be your main captain or even an alternate at times as well. So experience is important in this and that, and Spurgeon definitely has that. But if he's hurt all the time, I'm not sure where to go with it. So that's kind of like, you could, in a lot of ways, could say kind of the hot take, the big topic of this episode. Wallstead, yeah, we'll talk about him. Wallsteed coming up or not. That's brought up in the fan interaction segment. But yeah, Faber and Rossi are the main positives this season, along with Eriksson Ek, and those are the guys. Could that be the new captain course someday? That's probably where I would lean. Honest to God, that's probably where I would lean, is those three guys. Again, if there was a complete reset, like say 2 or 3 years from now, I can imagine those three being your captains, with Faber with the C, Rossi and Ek with the A's. But again, if there was an immediate change, it would be Eriksson Ek, because I don't think you can give Faber the captain today. An alternate, sure, you probably could. It's risky a little bit. It's risky not because I don't think he can do it, but it might be kind of weird, like for other players on the team who have been here and he's like brand new still. So that type of conversation. So those are my quote-unquote hot takes, I guess, in this episode. A little bit longer one, even though it's only 3 games and 2 of them against the same team, but obviously two different games and 2 different things happening. With that said, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and preview. It's 4 games, but 2 of them against Dallas. Oh, goody. Get your brooms out, Dallas. I hope not. Hope we don't get the brooms out for that one, too. But unless it's us doing the sweeping. But with that said, again, so yes, we're going to hear from DraftKings. Preview segment. Of course, the prospects conversation with some positive conversation there, of course, and then fan interaction. Sound good? Sound good? I think so. And we are back here on Brave the Wild. Segment number 2, we're going to look at the upcoming games, but first we're going to hear from DraftKings right here and right now. Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. As hockey continues, thankfully, we don't have any more holidays or this or that to shut the games off. We're going to go with the puck line here. Do you want the puck line or the money line? Let's go with the puck line. What the heck? Buffalo Sabres, Montreal Canadiens. I don't know, Buffalo, why are they struggling so much? I don't know. They're not favored against Montreal. I suppose it's a road game anyway. Plus 170 for Buffalo, minus 205 for Montreal. Columbus Blue Jackets at the Flyers. Columbus? Minus 148 Columbus. Okay, I get it. It's backwards. Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's different than the money line. Columbus, minus 148. Philadelphia is a plus 124. Pittsburgh Penguins and Boston Bruins. Ooh, Pittsburgh Penguins minus 198. Boston Bruins 164. Boston's been struggling, but we'll see if they take care of business versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Chicago Blackhawks and Rangers. Ooh, but Patrick Kane's not on either team anymore. Chicago plus 124. New York Rangers minus 148. Tampa Bay Lightning at the Minnesota Wild. Tampa Bay Lightning a plus 185. The Wild minus 225. Ooh. Wow. Wild are in trouble, aren't we? Vancouver Canucks visiting St. Louis, plus 170 for Vancouver, who are excellent this year. St. Louis Blues minus 205. That might sound better. Ooh, epic matchup. Big one. Colorado Avalanche minus 238. Dallas Stars hosting at plus 195. Calgary Flames minus 245. Nashville plus 200. The visiting New York Islanders plus 205. Arizona Coyotes hosting minus 250. Seattle Kraken hosting Ottawa. Ottawa's minus 230. Seattle's plus 190. Florida Panthers at Vegas. Florida. Yep, rematch of the Stanley Cup Final, huh? Loved it. Loved that series just because Vegas won. Plus 185 for Florida. Vegas is minus 238. Detroit Red Wings minus 155 at Los Angeles, who are plus 130. Winnipeg Jets minus, this is an epic battle. Well, no, it isn't, but minus 102. San Jose Sharks hosting minus 118. Interesting to say the least. So, yeah, that is your matchups going into this one. Download the app now and use code THPN. That's the Hockey Podcast Network, of course. New customers get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 in hockey. That's code THPN, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. And they are, which is awesome. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-787-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly anyway, on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Toronto, Ontario, which is Toronto's part of Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024 or 2023, as they'll say here. All rights reserved. So thank you so much, DraftKings. So, 4 games to preview. Four. Yep. Tampa Bay Lightning, Columbus Blue Jackets, and Dallas Stars twice. This one's at XL Energy Center. Historically, the Wild have had success against this Tampa Bay team for some reason. It's funny. The Wild could be stuck in real bad. Tampa could be like the best team in the league, and the Wild beat them 2-1 or something. We'll see if it happens. I doubt it. I do. I don't know. I'm sorry if I sound negative. Hayden Fleury. That's another Fleury. Hand injury as of Jan 3rd. Eric Cernak, upper body, Jan 3rd. Mikhail Sergachev, injured reserve as of December 19th. Jared Spurgeon, this sounds familiar. Jared Spurgeon, injured reserve. Sounds really familiar. I wonder why. Marcus Foligno is out for Tuesday, Jan 2nd. Yep. So his is kind of like day-to-day-ish. Vinny Lettieri, injured reserve. Happy New Year, Vinny. I'm sorry, man. That was on, of course, the 31st. Goals for Tampa is 7th. The Wild are 23rd. Goals against Tampa's 29th. 29th. Tampa? No wonder the record's about as identical as us. What's up with the Tampa Bay Lightning anyway? They're pretty much at our level, so hopefully we win this. Interesting. 2-game series. That would be tonight, January 4th, Thursday, and then Thursday, January 18th, 2 weeks from now. Okay, so we'll be previewing that next week, I guess. I don't remember. Yeah, my brain's stopping. It'll be 2 weeks. Yeah, two weeks we'll be previewing it, of course. Tampa is third on the power play. The Wild are 22nd. 15th in the penalty kill. The Wild are 29th. Wonderful. Absolutely exquisite. Really, though. Seriously, it's absolutely great. I just love it. Vasilevsky giving up the same goals against average as Phil Gustafsson before the injury. Yeah. 294 goals against average. Jonas Johansson giving up 345. Vasilevsky right at 90 in save percentage. Jonas Johansson 89.1. 2 shutouts for Jonas Johansson. Interesting. And 1 for Vasilevsky. Nikita Kucherov, 63 points on the season with 27 goals and 36 assists. Victor Hedman, still a stud he is, no doubt about it. 4th on the team in scoring at 38 points. The Wild could sure use his help. 33 assists on the season, 2 power play goals and 14 power play assists. 10 power play goals for Kucherov. Their power play is fantastic. If you didn't hear earlier, 19 assists. Again, they're 3rd in the league in the power play. So with the way while the Wild get in the penalty box, good luck to us. This will be a loss in a heartbeat, and it probably will be. Tampa has not been good. They are 2-3 in their last 5, and again their record's pretty poopy. What are they? 18, 16, and 5. They're kind of like us before we started losing again. Wonderful. Beat Washington in a shootout. Lost to Florida. Lost to New York Rangers 5-1. Wow. Beat Montreal 4-3, and lost to Winnipeg 4-2. That sounds insanely familiar. Very familiar. I don't know what's jogging that memory. I can't imagine. God. It'll haunt our dreams forever, right? Braden Point, that'll haunt our dreams forever, too. I can't imagine why. Look at the Wild draft history. just look closely at the year Point was drafted and go to the exact point that he was drafted and where the Wild picked. And yeah, it's wonderful. It's just great. Great, just wonderful, man. 23 assists, 17 goals for Braden Point. That would be 40 points total. Brennan Hagel, the Bagel, with 30 points in 39 games, 10 goals, 20 assists. Bottom line, Tampa is going to win the game 4-2, in my humble opinion. 4-2, 5-2, whatever. 5-3, 4-2 win for Tampa Bay. I think they score early and semi-often, and the Wild power penalty kill is beat again. That's my humble opinion. Dumb penalties and getting beat on the power penalty kill, beat from the other team's power play. Yeah, especially one that's this good. And Tampa ends up winning the game 4-2. Most likely guy to score for the Minnesota Wild tonight versus Tampa, Marco Rossi. And there you go, Marco Rossi against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's just keep moving right along. Columbus Blue Jackets. Oh boy. Well, 12, 19, and 8. Win this game, okay? Elvis is in the building. Elvis is alive. His save percentage is .907, which is kind of good considering his goals against average is .325, which is balls. It's absolutely putrid. They've had 4 men in net at some point this season. Elvis M. Elvis Merzlikins. He is 7 and 8 on the season, pardon me. But, 6 overtime losses, just snake bit. Hopefully the Wild can take care of business in a situation like that. But the save percentage is pretty impressive. He's facing a lot of shots. Johnny Gaudreau, I don't know, both teams stink when you consider Calgary, but Columbus is worse than Calgary. But congratulations, Johnny, on the contract, I guess. Zach Werenski, who'd missed a little bit of time. He's been one of the main positives, I think. He might be the most valuable player on the team this year. Provorov, the former Philadelphia Flyer, definitely having a strong season, 21 points, 2 goals, 19 assists. He's seen some power play action with 6 power play assists. Marchenko has definitely been a story in terms of goals, with 13, 5 power play goals for him. Gaudreau, only 25 points in 39 games. I don't think he's living up to the hype at all, since he moved to Columbus. I remember he had a slow start 2 years ago in his final year with Calgary and then just exploded into a fantastic season. Somebody actually cut him in fantasy, and by the grace of God, I was able to pick up Johnny Gaudreau via the waivers. I did have to bid, just in case, to make absolutely sure, and then he just immediately took off. It was like a miracle, and I still didn't win the championship, but I got real far, at least. He said, I didn't win the title since spring of 19. It's been a while since I won one of those. Some of you have like 19 titles, some of you have 0, I guess. Spencer Martin, who's been the main backup. In 10 games started, he's 3-8. Goals against average 3.65, 88.7 save percentage. And, yeah, we'll see what Jed Greaves can do, though. He's actually been really good. Daniil Tarasov, 4 goals a game in 4 starts. Jed Greaves in 2 starts, 2.52. With a 93.4 save percentage. Again, looks like these guys face a lot of shots. I mean, a lot. Like 35 a game or something. So, Wild are going to win this game. Columbus 1-4 in their last 5. Just a 6-5 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. But, yeah, look at that. Even in a win, they gave up 5 goals. They gave up 4 versus Toronto earlier, 4 versus New Jersey, 3 versus Buffalo. They lost to Buffalo, who's not been good, and 4-1 loss to Boston most recently. The Wild will win the game. Final score 3-1. Nope, 4-1. 4-1. The Wild win the game 4-1. Columbus just isn't good, and I think the Wild take care of business. Boldy, multi-point game, multi-goal game. Boldy will have 2 goals against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm always kind of getting optimistic that Boldy's going to step up, and hopefully he does, because he has to. He has to, damn it. Well, there's Spurgeon, who's kind of healthy there. Because you got Calgary and Minnesota flashing on the screen right now with less than 5 minutes remaining in the second. Must be before he got hurt again. Yep. Talking with Bogosian, looked like. But the, Minnesota Wild win this one. Final score of 4-1, believe it or not. Multi-goals for Mr. Boldy, and the Wild get the job done in this one. They pepper Columbus and win the game with 4 goals. Congratulations. And then the Wild played Dallas twice. Oh, shoot. I didn't look at the injury report for Columbus. I apologize. And some of the other statistics. I'm kind of a mess here. I apologize. The time of the game is in the X. The Columbus game is Saturday, January the 6th in Columbus, Ohio. So I apologize here. Danilo Tarasov, illness. That'd be that backup goalie, and he's been sick in a bad way. Werenski's on injured reserve again. What the heck? I thought I just got him. Okay, well, that's what I get. Now he's on injured reserve again. I remember he missed some time. Doggone it. Damn it. Don Curley, injured reserve as of right before Christmas there for Columbus. They're 13th in goals, 31st in goals against. Yep, that sounds about right. 5-4 win for Columbus early in the season during Dean Evason's awful start to the season. 5-4 overtime loss to Columbus in Xcel Energy Center back on October the 21st. Power play, Columbus is 25th and their penalty kill is 14th. So got those numbers out of the way. Now we get to talk about the Dallas Stars. You get the home game versus Dallas on Monday, and then road game on TNT in Dallas on the 10th. That would be Wednesday, of course. So again, playing the Stars twice. What do we do in these? No idea. Jake Ottinger, week to week. Jake Ottinger, week to week. Where is Dallas right now, anyway? Oh, they're in Texas. Okay, anyhow, 22-10-4, third place in the Central. So, yeah, that can explain it. That's why they've dropped off a bit. No Jake Ottinger, that would make a bit of sense. Hintz had a hat trick against Minnesota last year, and Jason Robertson scores every Mickey frickin' gosh darn game he plays against the Minnesota Wild because the Kaprizov rivalry. Dallas beat us in the playoffs again, just like they did many years ago when Suter was on Minnesota back in 2006, I believe. That was the Torchetti year before, did I say 2006? 16, before Bruce Boudreau took over, 16-17. Goals for, Dallas is 4th, 12th in goals against. Oh, my God. Oh, I just saw a nightmare. 14th in power play and 3rd on the penalty kill. 3rd. They are 2nd in penalty minutes and 3rd in shooting percentage. I don't like to bring those numbers up, but when it's like single-digit type stuff, like top 5 in the league, they have to be heard. Shooting percentage, we don't usually get into that, but because it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of what it is. Dallas beat the Wild 8-3. Remember that? Remember that? That's when you knew what's his name was in big trouble. Okay, I'm sorry. Dean Evason, my respects. He has not gotten a new job yet. I thought he'd get Ottawa, but no. I guess he probably wanted Ottawa, but they didn't hire him. Dallas is 3-2 in their last 5 games, beating Nashville 3-2, losing to St. Louis 2-1. Chicago 5-4 win. Chicago again 8-1. So they scored 8 goals again there, just like they did against Minnesota. And Jan the 2nd 4-3. That would be 2 days ago. 4-3 loss versus Montreal. And then the season wraps up here. Don't be surprised if Dallas gets the brooms out. Don't be surprised at all, especially with how depleted the Wild are. And I don't know, it's just the morale's not there. The Wild hopefully can win 1 or 2 games this week. It's not an easy schedule. Beat Columbus, though. Please beat Columbus. We lost to them earlier this year, and that was bull crap. Like, come on, don't lose to Columbus. You know, Jake Ottinger, even when healthy, his numbers have not been Jake Ottinger like at all. What the heck? 2.93? What the heck? Scott Wedgwood, 3 goals a game. Jake Ottinger, 90.1. Wedgwood, 90 even. And then only 1 shutout for Ottinger. Years ago, he was phenomenal. Robertson is leading the club in scoring with 25 assists, 12 goals. Pavelski still playing and still really good. It's incredible. 14 goals, 20 assists for 34 points. And Roop Hintz, Mr. Roop hat trick against Minnesota last year. 15 goals, 18 assists. He is leading the team in goals. Jamie Benn, the aging guy, obviously, yep, he's definitely aging quite a bit. He's been healthy, though, at least. 24 points in 36 games for him. Sagan, also aging, 11 goals, 15 assists, 26 points in all 36 games. Heiskanen, who was developing at one point, now he's become one of the better defensemen in the league with 4 goals and 22 assists, 26 total points. He's an outstanding defenseman for the Dallas Stars, but they've dropped off. They're in 3rd place. Can the Wild catch them? No. 22, 10, and 4. I don't think so. Sam Steele, about what he was last year. 31 games, 3 goals, 7 assists, and for 10 total points. Ryan Suter. Ryan, it's all about me, Suter. 1 goal, 6 assists, 7 total points in 36 games. He has certainly dropped off a bit, and he's really old, so what do you expect? But he's still making $4 million a year, which in the NHL is a little bit more. Oh boy, what just happened? What the heck? Can't get it to stop. I am really sorry. Yeah, I am really sorry about that, but things happen, right? So, yeah. Anyhow, I wanted to look up something as well here. Oh boy, I probably can't do this. I wanted to check something really fast, and it cost me. My apologies here. Now I'm having major problems. Sorry about this. There we go. I think I got it. Yes! Hallelujah. Yep, Hintz, the center that's in that. Suter's still considered a top pair, but yeah, with Heiskanen. So, I guess so. Yep, Lindell's been pretty damn good as well. He's developed nicely. The 2nd pair defenseman for the Dallas Stars. Interesting. But, yeah, Ryan Suter, he still gets a lot of minutes, but nothing like before. Again, I apologize for that burst of sound there. So that was kind of embarrassing. Maybe I can X that out somehow. So I think Dallas. Yeah, I'm gonna say it with the way things are going and how, yeah, just injuries and such, and how the team's not playing well. It's just a bad vibe right now. Hopefully, guys come back and are healthy, and we have a more positive week next week. But I think the Wild go 1-3 this week, which spells a sweep by the Dallas Stars. Even though they're definitely beatable right now. I mean, what were they, 3-2 in their last 5? They're beatable. I want to believe the Wild can wake up and win, maybe at home. I don't think we win in Dallas like we never do. What do we have, like 3 wins there in like 20 years or something? It's really bad. It's bad. The fact Ottinger's hurt certainly doesn't help their cause. So we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. But Wedgwood's been in net since, and yeah, he gives up 3 goals. He's mediocre. He's beatable. Jeez. Should I step out in faith and predict 1 win versus this club? Just to be positive, just for hope. No, I can't do it. I just can't do it. 3-2 loss at home and like a 5-3 game in Dallas. It's going to be something crazy like that. In the X Energy Center, most likely guy to score in that one is going to be Faber. He's going to get his 3rd goal of the season. And in Dallas, we're going to go with Marcus Johansson. How exciting! Versus the Dallas Stars. But I think the Wild go 1-3 this week. At least we win 1. I hope. Don't get swept. Please don't get swept. Don't go 0-4 this week. But I think the Wild do win 1 game, and then hopefully the upcoming week things are a little more positive. going forward. I just don't feel positive. I don't know. Dallas has just owned this team. Then we get Philadelphia, Arizona, New York Islanders, and Tampa. We might win. Well, it's only 3 of those games. We might win one of them or 2. We might go 2-1, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to let that happen. We'll talk about that next week. With that said, we're going to jump into the prospects right here and right now. Starting off with Iowa, the 3 leading scorers of the Iowa Wild are now up with the Minnesota Wild. Nick Baton, maybe I should have picked him to score one of the goals. He had tons of assists and not many goals, and then he started scoring for the Iowa Wild. Now he's got a few assists already with Minnesota, which is pretty cool. So Kyra's like the leading goals he's the leading goal scorer with 5. Stinko. Adam Beckman tied with him, with Fogarty also with 5. 14 points in 26 games. Damon Hunt's got 9, and he's still in Iowa. Eventually, it's got to just be Damon Hunt and adios to Merrill or Goligoski. But, well, I think Hunt will be with Minnesota all year next year. In fact, I would hope so. There's a pretty good chance, even in a limited role, of course. But I think he was with Minnesota all year next year because you got to get rid of both Merrill and Goligoski, right? You just can't. Yeah, obviously Goligoski's for sure. His contract's up, so whatever. Yeah, here I go looking at the contracts again. Yep, I just can't stop doing it. I can't help it. Mermis is also unrestricted free agent. Bogosian unrestricted, so that's another potential spot. And Goligoski, where is that guy? Yeah, Merrill's up for next year. Oh, 1.2, but I don't think he plays with Minnesota next year. I mean, it just if our IQ points pass 75. Come on, guys. You can't do it. You just can't have Merrill back next year. I don't care if there's a contract number there or not. I know buying out players pretty much isn't an option, even if it's only a few $100,000. We need those 100,000 something. You know, we need the 600,000 or whatever it would be to do that. So that would just be dumb. You can't manipulate the cap too much. But yeah, Goligoski, he's off the books, blah, blah, blah. So there's going to be spots available, no doubt. So you got to think Damon Hunt is going to be back up with Minnesota. Shoot, Paton's an unrestricted free agent already. Maroon, Lucchini, Connor DeWeer's got the he's got the arbitration eligible restricted free agency along with Sammy Walker. Interesting, very interesting. And yes, Brandon Duhaime is a UFA, complete UFA, as we knew at the beginning of the season, because the way things were structured after his delay, after his arbitration situation, or they avoided it and this and that. Anyhow, prospects, Joey, prospects, if there's such a thing. Yes, Damon Hunt is a prospect. Beckman barely is at this point. That would be Volsteed, 11 wins, 7 losses, 2.43 goals against average, and 92% save percentage. Sweeney, only 7 games. He's hurt every 10 seconds. Man, I don't know. So 1 goal, 1 assist. I don't know, man. Kajkovic, I believe is the name. He's been solid in 4 games. 1 goal, 2 assists. I think I pronounced it correctly this time. Spacek. Again, he's one of those guys who what he does doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, and I think he continues to get better and better. Only 20 years of age, coming in from Columbus because his father played for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yes, we're already at that point where Minnesota and Columbus are old enough franchises where former players on your team could have sons in the NHL or at least the AHL at this stage. Bankier has been wonderful. Again, coming back from injury, at the beginning, before the season started and all that. Coming back from injury, 9 games, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 total points. He is definitely a huge positive, and remember what a big positive he was last year. Huge positive. Masters up to a little slower start, but again, defensemen seem to take longer. It just seems like it, or particularly on the offensive side. Probably because he's probably not in a scoring role offensively. That's part of it. But Masters in 14 games, 3 assists for him. Good for him for the most part. Carson Lambos now 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 total points, and O'Rourke added another assist. Now it's 7 on Le Saison. So there's some, bright spots, but nothing super exciting except for probably Bankier. When it comes to active players in the Iowa Wild right now, Bankier, Spacek, and of course Volsteed. Jesper Volsteed are probably the 3 most positive possible prospects, and I talked about Simon Johansson. Could be a possible third pairing for Minnesota in the immediate future. Like, not immediate, but very soon. Like, not too distant future. I talked about Hunter Jones giving up 6 goals in the game he got to be in. So Zane McIntyre is busy with Minnesota at the moment due to the injury to Mr. Gustafsson. So 1-8 is McIntyre at the AHL level, 3.54 goals against average. So if McIntyre's in there with the way he's been playing this year, we could be in trouble. Where McIntyre was a wonderful veteran the last 3 years. This year, not so much. Pavel Novak. We will talk about the Iowa Heartlanders. Players moving all over the place like Hajkovic and stuff. Pavel Novak now 5 goals, 3 assists in 10 games, 8 points at the ECHL level. But you got to do something. David Spacek also was in for 3 games in the past, like earlier in the season, just to kind of maybe hit a couple home runs and a couple of extra base hits and such, and then to get his swing, his timing, and then now we can bring him back to the AHL level. Even Masters played a couple games earlier in the year, so that's always interesting. Hunter Jones was awful at the beginning of the year and got a little bit better. Peyton Jones has been the main goalie. Now it's Drew Derritter, interesting. And Peyton Jones was called up to Minnesota. Understandable there to be the backup. Because probably might have to see what happens between Peyton Jones and Hunter Jones with the situation there. Because Valsteed was also hurt. So it's just absolutely wonderful. Even Valsteed was hurt. So it's like, Lord. Like, what do you do? So insanely frustrating. From that front. Let's get to the European prospects, if humanly possible. Liam Ogren. I've heard Ogren, whatever it is. It's Liam from Sweden. He is the captain of his club in the World Junior Classic, which again will be in Minnesota in 2026. Pretty cool. 2 assists so far in 5 games in the WJC 20. 2 assists so far in 5 games. Good for him. He had 11 points in the Swedish Hockey League. Or no, he's projected for that. Excuse me. Danila Yurov, everybody's obviously pumped up about him for a good reason. Playing in the KHL. Let's get this party started. Not in the World Junior Classic, but 32 points in the KHL in 41 games. 13 goals, 19 assists. Yep. It's encouraging. It's insanely encouraging. Like I talked about and babbled on and on. Was it like 2 years ago when he was first drafted by Minnesota? 21 games in the KHL as a little kid, basically. No points. It's just kind of funny. No points. And then last year, only 12 in the KHL, and he got to hit a few homers in the MHL, which is like the AHL's version of the KHL. If you get the idea. It's like the AAA of the KHL. 15 points in 12 games. That was last season, but then look at the steps forward this year. It's just awesome. He's projected to get 20 goals and 29 assists in 62 games, 49 points. That's really, really nice jump. Huge jump as a 20-year-old playing at probably the number 2 level on the planet. The KHL is harder than the AHL, right? It has to be. It has to be. You'd think if he played in the AHL, he'd be a star already. And we have something there. We have something to look forward to. The other Russian named Marat Huznadinov, who is projected to be a bottom 6 in the NHL, but a damn good one at 21 years of age, from Moskva, Russia, 5'9". Yeah, you get the idea. I know I'm going on and on. Sochi, so far, 28 games, 5 goals, 7 assists. Again, not as much of an offensive weapon, more of a defensive-minded bottom 6 in the NHL as we look at it. And again, they're also kind of like they're screwing him with his role there in Russia. St. Petersburg, 6 games, he didn't score a point because they were burying him there. In Sochi, at least he's playing a little bit. 28 games, 5 goals, 7 assists. So kind of like a little less than half a point a game. And again, he's not as offensive-minded as Danila Yurov, but at the same time, they've been burying him in Russia, and that's been the complaint, that's been the conversation, where they're like, as Derek Velska said, screw you, we don't have to play you, that kind of attitude. So it's kind of funny. Screw you, we don't have to. That was hilarious. Servak Petrovsky from the Czech Republic. No, he is Slovakia, excuse me. Slovakia. Naughty, Joey. Very naughty, actually. Outstanding in the WJC. I mean, the best. The best. Outstanding. And everyone's going crazy, and they should. 5 games, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. He's been outstanding for Slovakia, and you kind of love what he's been doing. That is it's freaking awesome. And yeah, he's a point-a-game player in the OHL. It's like he's good, but at the World Junior Classic, when the spotlight's on him, it's like, you know, I mean, the light is shining on Petrovsky. I mean, he's got to be a World Junior Classic story. He's one of the best stories of the entire tournament thus far. Absolutely awesome. Not just like Minnesota Wild prospects, but the whole tournament and the World Junior Classic. That'd be prospects all over the National Hockey League and the world. So pretty damn cool, to say the least. Should we check up on Firstov? Dare we? Yeah, he's okay. Pretty much the same numbers as last year, but more goals, I guess. Yay. 45 games, he has 14 goals, 12 assists, 26 points. Those are decent numbers for KHL, level. And we're not expecting him to be the superstar or anything, but I always saw him as kind of a middle kind of guy, middle six. If he made it to the NHL, he's a left winger. Definitely not a star, but at least, he's productive. He's productive. He's been playing for the Torpedo. Novgorod Torpedo. Forget it. I'm not gonna say it right. That one's a toughie. But Vladislav Firstov, of course, again, still potentially could wind up with Minnesota someday. It's a long shot, but I guess you never know. We talked about all these other guys with Iowa. Nate Benoit, North Dakota, 7 games, and that's it. Kyle Masters is with Iowa. Bankier, yep, outstanding. Jack Pert, they're playing again. Christmas break is over. 18 games, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 total points. Nice. So providing a little extra offense since the last conversation about him. So that's always a good thing. Healy with Harvard, 8 points. Again, already reached last year's total. 2 goals, 6 assists, both categories, and only 11 games versus 34. So Healy taking steps forward. Right shot defensive, definitely more offensive minded and a bigger role this season. Reger Lorenz with Denver, same thing. Not as big of a jump as Healy, though, as far as I'm concerned, but already 3 more points than last year, but 18 games already, 6 goals, 6 assists. Certainly nothing to complain about. And you got to think, again, a bigger role now as a sophomore with the Denver Pioneers. Hunter Haidt, over a point a game. I mean, has he taken huge steps forward? I don't know. It's about the same as last year, I think. Maybe slightly better, at least statistically. And I'd like to believe he's stronger and more focused every year. The plus minus is weaker. The Saginaw Spirit probably haven't been as good. So there's a bit of that conversation as well. 15 goals, 24 assists. He's almost got as many goals as last year, but he's only 9 games less played than last season. Jimmy Clark for the Minnesota Gophers. Well, the games keep happening and the points haven't been happening as much. 4 goals, 3 assists in 18 games, 7 points there for Jimmy Clark. Kalen Parker, 32 games and 20 points for the right shot defenseman coming out of Saskatchewan. So I'm saying that goofy, but 17 assists on the season. WHL. Hopefully that came out correctly. Aaron Plonk again, 20-year-old, first year with the Duluth, veteran defenseman, you could say, for college standards, entering his first year. 11 points, 19 games, 1 goal out of those for the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. And Riley Haidt on pace for a bajillion points. He's got 2. He's literally at 2 points a game. He's probably going to get well over 100. At least I would hope so. Last year, Riley Haidt had 97. And that was, he was drafted by the Minnesota Wild after that. This is in the WHL again. The Prince George Cougars. 70 points, 22 goals, 48 assists. Plus 19 versus a minus 3 last year and a minus 20 the year before. Riley Haidt looking to go to higher and higher heights. Pun intended. Kumpalainen, but this is juniors, and of course so everything's on pause right now. 27 games, 27 points. Kumpalainen. I'm going to check something real quick, to be fair. I gotta think. Come on now. My apologies. Yeah, 5 games for Finland, but no points, unfortunately. So not quite having the Petrovsky approach. 5 games, he is in the, and I figured, it's like, I better, 5 games and no points so far in the WJC. But, well, at least he's there. But nothing to brag about, nothing to write home about, unfortunately, which is a bummer. But kind of how it goes, I guess. And Charlie Stramel, we get to wrap up with Charlie Stramel, 14 games, 5 points. We had that big weekend a few weeks back, and since then, I don't know, 2 points or 2 goals, 3 assists for the season so far. Charlie Stramel, first round pick. Oh boy, don't be the Lewis Steen of the Minnesota Wild, but then again, at least he's not injured like 24 hours a day like Lewis Steen for the Vikings. But we'll see what happens with that one. Our last few first round picks have been freaking great, and even Rossi. It took a little while, but it's looking good now. Looking damn good now at the end of the day. So that should wrap up the prospects. We will come back to look at fan interaction. And we are back here on Brave the Wild, final segment, the fan interaction segment that we all look forward to, and I do. This is fun. At Brave the Wild, Twitter, X Twitter, this and that. We will open things up with Derek Pelska's poll, which I continue to fail to put out myself as well. So it's like, we were both talking about having at least a poll a week, and then I keep forgetting. I think I have some ideas in my head, and then I just forget. Stupid. Anyhow, Derek Felska's poll is, what should the Minnesota Wild's 2024 New Year's resolution be? No dumb/bad penalties, staying healthy, better special teams, or more early leads. I personally voted for better special teams, and I only got 12%, so I was third place. My vote wound up in third place. No dumb/bad penalties. That'll certainly be a factor versus Tampa tonight, because they have the third power play in the league. 50%, pretty landslide-ish there. Staying healthy, yeah, that's second place, 29.3. And, of course, you want to say all the above. I said better special teams, 12.1. More early leads, 8.6. So there you go. I was saying thoughts on the nasty week it's been for the Minnesota Wild. Tag it, hashtag BTWMN, and ask as many questions, comments you'd like. Please, da-da-da-da-da. So, yes, always hashtag BTWMN when you address the show, just because it helps keep things organized. I can type in that hashtag and then put latest, and then everything's in chronological order, rather than have stuff from May 2021 pop up, something like that. So, because that does happen. It does. Jay Bushy leading off here like Chuck Knobloch for the Twins. He's going to have a leadoff home run and put us up 1-0. Sounds good to me. Jay Bushy says Boldy needs to step up even more now with all the injuries. Oh, yes, just like last March when he was awesome. The last couple of games haven't been good for him. What does he need to do to play more consistent and score? It's kind of plain and simple. He needs to want it. I think. I shouldn't say plain and simple, but he needs to want it. Obviously, easier said than done, that type of thing. But just kind of have that, he's got to have that killer instinct. He's got to have that desire. Like, don't just say you want it. Go out and bleep and want it, like Bruce Boudreau used to say. Maybe Boldy needs to hear from Boudreau a little bit. Don't just say you want it. Go out and effing want it. That kind of thing. So I can imagine John Hines saying something along those lines, even though Hines is probably a little bit more mild than Bruce Boudreau. But I don't know. I like John Hines, dang it. This is definitely not his fault. I don't love John Hines, but I like him. I think he's kind of common sense, if that makes sense. But yeah, go out and bleep and want it. For me, that's what it is, because he definitely has the skills. And, well, I mean, him and Johansson have had chemistry at times, but he also could play with oh, wait, no, not that guy. It sucks. And the lines keep freaking changing. Oh, geez, I got to change this. I got to fix this now. Yeah, just hit back. That might be easier. Duh. So, yeah, Boldy, Eriksson, and Johansson. That's what I thought. That's who I thought he's with, yeah. Those are competent teammates in terms of getting him the puck, I think, for the most part. I mean, and who else is he going to be with? Other than possibly Rossi. You might see Rossi centering that line as well in different situations. So, but Rossi and Hartman and Nick Patan have been good. I didn't even give out awards for the last week. Ryan Hartman will bring in the Mike Modano Award, even though I don't like giving Ryan Hartman awards very much, but he's kind of like a nicer Matt Cook, as far as I'm concerned, with the injuries and such. It's or the with the penalty fines and such and the dumb penalties. He kind of reminds me of the guy, but I'm not the hugest fan of Hartman, but I certainly don't hate him or anything. But he had a pretty good week, to be fair. Ryan Hartman will bring in the because Eck didn't really have any points and Boldy was so Ryan Hartman brings in the Madonna, and the James Shepard Memorial Popcorn Maker should be making popcorn, and that should be John Merrill. Yeah. He looked like my mom trying to pretend to push a trailer when he was pretending to try to stop a Niederreiter, as far as I'm concerned. So that's out of the way. Sorry for that super late award demerit thing. Yep, so that kind of got me going there a little bit. Yeah, Boldy, though, absolutely. The Derek Felska lightning round had the return of da. There it is. Kaboom, kaboom, right? Derek Felska says, and again, he does the Crease and Assist podcast, Crease and Assist Minnesota Wild show. The more Minnesota Wild action you listen to, the better, especially if it's us two. Absolutely. With Kalisha Townsville and Teresa Ferry's outstanding show, and I'm going to keep saying that because it is. It is. And the good sense of humor. Hopefully I bring that as well to the show. Love having the retro game music. I hope that keeps my show fairly unique compared to others, I guess, with the retro video game soundtrack and all that added to the show. Though I did get a tiny bit of flack a year ago, and it was like, I don't know, why would you hate it? It's one thing if you hate like Justin Timberlake because he's annoying, or any other like artist out there. Like you might have an opinion. I don't like this person. He's annoying and his music sucks, or her music sucks. Retro game music, you hate it? Why? I just found that weird. Anyhow, to Derek, have injuries finally compelled this team to do what it should have done for a while and simply bottom out and take a lottery pick? Maybe painful, but even if players get healthy, the team will be farther behind and with less time for a comeback. What say you? I say yes. We're kind of like the Vikings right now. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to go anywhere, and there's too many injuries. I just call me negative, call me the typical Minnesota negative fan, but no, I think there's typical Minnesota sensitive fan. You wouldn't believe the Timberwolves fan base. Like for how dare anybody bring up the fact that they've been kind of falling into bad habits? Well, they what have they gone like what have they lost 3 out of their last 4? The Timberwolves. How dare I or like other fans bring up that they're kind of falling into some bad habits? That we need to just get over it and move on. They won a game by like a point against and there was a call against LeBron James on a 3-point shot that probably should have counted as a 3 versus a 2. Game might have ended differently, and to get over it and move on. Okay, sure. The Lakers aren't real good, by the way. So I know, wrong topic, and Timberwolves Explosion is a Timberwolves podcast, but it's all kind of relative. Like, how dare anybody be negative? But no, we're going to be negative because there's a lot of injuries, and dare I say, there's the meanest statement of all you could say about a person. There's dead weight on this team. There's dead weight in the defensive pairings, and you can probably guess 2 players right out of the gate. I don't need to say their names 55 times. And of course it's painful, like the Calgary game, the 3-1, just blech, Was that fun to watch? No, I mean, it's on the screen right now. It's just the shot blocked, shot saved by Markstrom, and it wasn't an exciting play at all. It's just, it is what it is. The puck's flying back down the ice the other direction. Okay, we got it back, and now we try to another attempt. Nope. It sounds about right. Or like we're knocking pucks in against our goalie ourselves. Like, it's just ridiculous. Anyhow, next one. How well do you think Minnesota's, that's the female, at the PWHL official squad will do in its inaugural season? Who do you think will be their leading scorer? I have to admit, I'm not read up on it. I'm going to admit about that. But let's just say, I believe there's a few former Gophers on there, and that's where I would lean. So let's just say I have some catching up to do on that at the end of the day. So Yeah. Sometimes I have a hell of a time even keeping up with this show in general, so it's kind of how it is. But I do think it will be one of the former Gophers. Will they do well? Yeah. I think they're going to be very competitive. I remember the Whitecaps won the championship in the inaugural season. It was a trophy with like no, you know how it has those little, what are they, little tags where they engrave people's names and such and the team and everything. It was empty. I remember when they won it could wind up that way. So hopefully we'll see what happens there. I do believe they're unnamed still, which is really weird. Like they're already playing, but they don't even have a name yet. So it's just, that's kind of strange. Maybe I'm completely ignorant, but that is weird. It's kind of like what happened to the Whitecaps anyway. It's kind of sad. Seems like finances always get in the way and such. Next, have the Minnesota Wild so-called tough guys, number 17 and 20. That'd be Maroon and Foligno out there, of course. Have they done enough to protect the team? If they're not able to protect our skilled guys from opponents taking liberties, then why have them on the team? I agree with that. Especially, see, like Foligno, would I want him to be a captain? No. Because not only like is this stuff still happening, but at the same time, when Foligno does kind of start going after people, he goes off the handle and it kills us. Like one time, it kind of sort of worked against Dallas in Game 3 last year. But ever since then, it was like embarrassing for Foligno. So I definitely do not want to see Foligno as a captain for sure. But no, that's a good one right there. Next one, does Dean Evison get an NHL head coaching job next season, or will he have to wait or become an assistant coach or minor league coach again to get another opportunity? I think he will be an NHL coach next year. I think, because he did have enough success that I think somebody's going to give him a chance. As to where, I have no idea. To be quite fair, maybe Buffalo. I don't know. Maybe I'm full of crap saying that, but maybe the Buffalo Sabres. That's just kind of a throwing an idea out there, and maybe he wouldn't want that, though. Jordan Greenway, ugh. But at least you'll have Alex Tuck and what's that other guy's name? Thompson. So I wouldn't mind having those two guys, Tuck and Thompson, to work with for sure. But that's just kind of, I guess, just a random guess. Maybe like a Buffalo. That team, I don't know why they're not better. It's weird, other than, I guess, having bums like Jordan Greenway on the team certainly don't help. And what's that other guy where they gave up to them? Yost? It's like some scrap heap players. The Sharks and the Buffalo Sabres have kind of been our, how you have like the trash bin or whatever on your computer. That's kind of what's been happening with the Sharks and the Sharks and the Buffalo Sabres. Next, should the Minnesota Wild call up Jesper Wallsteed now, or should they let him simply carry the Iowa Wild and let Thief River Falls native Zane McIntyre fill in as Fleury's backup? Well, we hope to hear Gustafson's return eventually. What do you think is best? I would love to see Jesper Wallsteed, but I think I'm going to go with what some other people are saying. And I think I'm guessing Derek feels the same, but I'm not sure. And yes, Wallsteed is injured as well. That's another thing, which makes it even worse. Eamon Johan wants to give him a few tries as long as he's healthy. Yeah, see, there it is. And then Morty says, keep him cooking in Iowa. The team isn't good right now. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way, where it could hurt things. If the circumstances were different, like say both Iowa and Minnesota were doing real well and they had a nice situation in Iowa, and that the Wild were just, were doing fantastic and we weren't giving up a lot of chances and such, I'd probably lean towards it being okay. Otherwise, maybe Wally or Wallsteed will be at least the backup next year with Gustafson, I think, or like a platoon type of deal. That's my guess. So that was cool. Next, with Canada out of the running in the 2024 ILHF Under 20 World Junior Championships, which nations do you think comes away with the gold, silver, and bronze medals this year? Yeah, it's crazy that Canada's out, aren't they, in the World Junior Classics? USA definitely, with the way they've been playing, is going to get a medal. I think Minnesota wins something. Oh, boy. I keep saying Minnesota. I'm so dumb, aren't I? I'm crazy. USA is going to get I think USA gets the gold. Maybe I'm crazy. But That's my belief. That's my belief at the end of the day. Because, I mean, they've been kicking some super butt. So that's the exciting part. Yeah, 11-3. No, we're 3-1. Excuse me. 3-0. Yeah, we've been fantastic. 3-0. Yeah, we just started. Slovakia, I think, is going to be in there. Petrovsky, Sweden. Those are probably your teams, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, IIHF, not L. Why did I say L? I'm taking an L there, right? Sweden's obviously a threat at times, but no, they're not going to get it. And Norway's been bad. Germany, huh? USA takes the gold. USA takes the gold. Sweden takes the silver. Slovakia bronze. What do you think of that? So yeah, that's what I'm going with for now. Yeah, USA is going to win the gold. I think they've just been absolutely freaking dominant, and it's a beautiful thing. Sweden silver, Slovakia bronze. In my opinion, Slovakia bronze, but USA gold. USA, and I know it's homerish, but dude, they've been awesome. So. Looks like this is it. Which Minnesota Wild player was the biggest hidden gem in the franchise history? Maybe the past or currently playing. Which NES game do you think is the biggest hidden gem in that console's history? NES. Okay, so NES biggest hidden gem. Ooh, boy, this might take a little bit of thought. So, biggest hidden gem in Minnesota Wild history. There was a time you could have said Spurgeon. But then again, I guess hidden would mean they're not as up in your, they're not as. Boy, this might take some serious thought. There were players that I'd have in the past. I have to say this guy for Minnesota. And doggone it, if it wasn't for something called MS, and it's a guy we talked about a bit off the mic, Josh Harding. Josh Harding is like a hidden gem. It took a little while for him to get going, but it seemed like every time he got to play, like in his early days, was against Detroit when they were outstanding on the road. And then we'd lose like 2-1. He'd be freaking unbelievable against Detroit when they were like the best team in the league still. They were elite, like still Stanley Cup contender. He'd face like 40 shots and give up 2 goals, and we'd lose 1-0, 2-0. 2-0 if it's 2 goals. You get the idea. But it'd be a really low-scoring game. And the offense just wouldn't help. It was bleeping, bleepity, bleep, bleep. And then when Harding suddenly became the main guy because Backstrom was hurt with like 99th time of his career, Harding was off the charts. He was a Venza candidate. He was awesome. And then MS took over. Just bleeping sad. Heartbreaking. So for me, the hidden gem for the Minnesota Wild is Josh Harding. There's other players you could come up with for sure. There's Gabrick. No, I'm kidding. Definitely not that guy. He wasn't hidden, and he got frustrating at times as well. It's Harding because people don't really think about Josh Harding, especially now. At the time, yeah, he had that great year, but I mean, it was like right after that, it's kind of like we didn't really hear about him anymore. Biggest hidden gem in NES history. See, for Super Nintendo, I think it's Secret of Evermore. So I'm cheating a tiny bit, but I'll go back. Secret of Evermore for Super Nintendo, because who talks about Secret of Evermore? Nobody. It's a secret, right? And I think it's a top 5 all-time game in my opinion. It's that good. Love that game so much. Plus, it's just kind of my personality, kind of dry sense of humor, kind of dorky, but dorky, dry sense of humor, all throughout the game, and I love it. Earthbound obviously was a massive hidden gem, but it's not anymore. It's not a hidden gem. It's on a pedestal now. So it was that, but Evermore has maintained that. For the NES, oh man, there's so many tough ones. There's toughies. I think Mickey Mousecapade is a game people don't talk about, and I really enjoy it. I'm trying to think if I did a game review on it. So Video Game Flashback, of course, is a retro video game podcast. See, like my mind blanks. It's like, oh man, I could talk about it all day, which game is a great gem, and then my mind just stops and I'm like put on the spot suddenly. But being put on the spot is a good thing. It makes you think. And then we get the infamous loading. So I did Combat, Mickey Mouse, Mega Man 2 and 3, DuckTales. Those are definitely not hidden gems. They're not, because they were up in the front of everybody. Okay, here's a really, really, but that's not NES. Shoot. Sega Master System, Castle of Illusion. That's a hidden gem for that system. I mean, who talks about Castle of Illusion for Sega Master System? They usually think of, what do they call it? Sega Genesis. So, Deja Vu, that was a hidden gem. For NES, what was I thinking a minute ago? Mickey Mouse Capade? I mean, I know that might sound like a lamer choice. But, I mean, it's the NES. It's not so much the others. There's some other fantastic ones, and if I come up with a better one, I'll bring it up. But for right now, I think Mickey Mouse Capade, I get so many wonderful memories when I play that game. See, 1943 isn't a hidden gem, really. Like, a lot of people have heard of that one. Nobody talks about Mickey Mouse Capade much, even though it was a Capcom game. But, like, right after that, like 2 years later, you had DuckTales and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. That completely, for Disney action platformer games, totally, like, those two totally took over that mantle. And you never heard about Mickey Mouse Capade really again after that. I think it's a hidden gem, no doubt. So, I mean, I could still play that anytime, no doubt. With that said, thank you so much, Derek. That was awesome. Lightning round. Jay Bushy, wonderful to hear from you as well. Really awesome. So, with that said, hope all of you had a nice New Year. Hopefully, hopefully good things happen for all of us this upcoming year, be it a job promotion, a really nice raise. Maybe you're single and you want to meet somebody special, that type of thing. So who knows? Like, whatever it is, I hope it's a wonderful year for all of us. Shout outs, of course, to Minnesota Wild Global, Minnesota Wild Nation, Scott Cavendish for Global, Patrick Turner for Wild Nation. Major shout out to MNW Young Guns, Pavel Burnett, Justin Baki. Awesome guys. Minnesota Wild Young Guns, also known as Minnesota Wild Prospects, or MNW Prospects. Huge shout-outs to you guys. Thank you so much for being great friends and such. Of course, Derek Felska, Creases Podcast. Seth Tupol, Locked On Minnesota Wild. I'm a fan. So I'm just being honest. So in case he's listening. With that said, hope all of you have yourself a nice week, and the Minnesota Wild end up being better than my initial prediction. Until next time, take care and God bless.